All right, hey people. It's the first YouTube video I've rolled out in a long time. I've got a CNC machine and I'm testing out some bowl designs with patterned plywood. This is the first one I did. It's all right. It's not bad. It's also tung oil only. We then kind of went up to the angled pattern and then did tung oil and shellac. You can see this is way shinier. Surface on it honestly isn't that great because I didn't sand the heck out of it. This is still learning. Right now I'm just using that to basically throw my keys and my wallet in the day and all that sort of stuff. Nothing too, nothing that's like put out in the middle of the table kind of centerpiece. But then that's what I made next. Something that's put out in the middle of the table centerpiece kind of thing. This is about to get the oil finish on it. I'm not real happy with the feet on it. It would look better if I had a ring for the feet instead of just the individuals, but by the time I did all of this, there really just honestly wasn't enough wood left in what I did. This is almost an entire, I think it is an entire sheet of 1/2 inch ply. And you can see the color difference that this makes from going from just the plain sanded plywood to tung oil, which is what I'm about to do. This thing also soaks up tung oil like crazy. So fortunately I've got another couple of bottles handy. We're gonna see how much this takes for a first coat. This is also the cheapest plywood I can get at Lowe's. So this is not fancy birch. This is not special anything. This is 15, I think it was sanded one side, so I think it was 20 bucks at Lowe's. I swear there is probably as much money in this thing in glue as there is in plywood. Simply to put it all together, and cut it in strips, glue it, put it together in the diamonds, cut it, put it together in the V, cut it, glue it, put it together in the diamonds, glue it, cut it again to get all this, and then run it through the CNC machine to get the outer side and to do the bowl bit on the other side. So we will start on the bottom. Actually, let me grab my feet so I can put this thing up afterwards. If I have them handy. Well, here's one painting foot. I'll try to stand it up on that and some scrap afterwards. I'm going to do the bottom first so it has a chance to go ahead and dry some while I do the top, and if I flip it over, if it starts to get messed up because it's on the cloth or on a stand, this is easier to deal with than the top. I expect this to dry super fast because this is Arizona in my garage in the middle of the summer. Let me see how warm it is in here. So wood and ambient air temperature, 98.4. I do have a swamp cooler going behind me just because otherwise I'm going to sweat to death out here. But you deal with what you got. Certainly don't have space to do this inside the house, so we got to do it out here. We're going to do multiple thin coats of the tung oil. Probably, I think I did 7 coats on the other stuff over a week. It will dry really quick. It will soak into the wood like crazy here. I could virtually just pour it on the wood and it would just disappear. I'm honestly just kind of soaking the cloth here as I go around and do stuff. The cloth is eating some, but I will wait the full recommended 24 hours between coats because I just want to make sure everything is dry on the inside and we don't have like an outer layer that's dried and an inner layer that's somehow still wet. But yeah, at 98 degrees with the virtually no humidity of Arizona, this stuff evaporates like crazy. And in this case, we're going to start in the center and just work out. And although I did start this CNC woodworking pre-COVID, this has been a nice sort of thing to kind of work on keeping sane during all the COVID lockdown. It has been one of those things that it's like, well, if you get bored being at home, what can you do in the garage? Which is another reason why I'm out here working in 100 plus heat. And of course, I also decided to do this on the weekend, which may be the highest record temps in Arizona for a while. I think it's supposed to be 117 is what they're theorizing predicting, sorry, for this weekend. Right now it's only Friday and it is not quite 10 a.m. And as I said, it's almost 100 degrees in the garage with the swamp cooler running. And watch out for little blue fuzzies. We're just trying to get a light coat on everything here that I can see. And we'll start trying to get every little tiny nook and cranny. You can see the color difference. Let me turn this slightly. Here, between what it's already turning into and what it was. Getting into the little tiny corners is going to be the hard part. And I just have to soak them. And put a little bit more in that center. And I will also say, I'm fairly new at this. So it's entirely possible, like, I'm mishandling something or doing something wrong. Feel free to let me know, because I will totally admit, I'm older, but I've really taken up woodworking as a hobby only recently, and trying out new things, trying out new ways of discovering things and doing things, and to help, you know, keep me sane in the COVID lockdowns, especially here in Arizona. Alright, let's see. Now I'm starting to look for little areas which have been missed. Definitely going to have to change cloths pretty soon. It's the whole face of that. And getting in. I put an angle on these feet that I'm now kind of regretting. I did it more for artistic look, but actually getting in around them to get this stuff in here is being a bit of a pain. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so that one looks all right. Definitely gonna have to change cloths pretty soon. Gonna have to change the cloths when I flip, no matter what. Make sure I got this up under here. And if there's a little tiny spot I'll miss, I'll come back after it dries and either catch it next coat, or could always just shove a brush under there and hit it. I know people are going to say, well, the tung oil is supposed to be wipe on, wipe off, and I totally get that. But in this case, this stuff dries so quick like this, there's nothing, and it soaks into this plywood like crazy. There's nothing left to wipe off. I'm sort of giving it a very thorough thin coat in the beginning. I'm just checking to make sure I've got everything on that. When I did the smaller bowls, I've literally poured the stuff in the middle and just worked it out. And I could dump it in there and wait 30 seconds. I'd throw a tablespoon or two of stuff in there. It'd be gone. I wouldn't even have to wipe it. It would just all get soaked into the wood because it's plywood. All right, that's probably it for this side. You can see this nice deep color and how light it is on the sides. Just because people say wipe on, wipe off, I'm going to hit the bottom of these feet because these are going to get flipped over and put on this. And you'll see there's nothing coming off that. There's not even any bit of dampness or liquid. This it just soaks in instantly. All right. I'm not going to just pour it in. I'm tempted to, but you'll notice there are areas in here where there were faults in the plywood. It will just fall into the holes there, and on my other ones it sort of formed a ridge around there, which was a pain to come back through and clean up. So just because of the way the liquid would go down, and then there would be this bump around the downpour area. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to pick up a new cloth, soak a little bit in here. See if I have to open up a second. This can was obviously, as you can tell from the top, very well used. I might have to open up another can, but I've got some. All right, here we go. You can see how much that's just disappears. Try to make this wetter. And I'll show you. I mean, this is pulling up on the cloth. I'll take it right then and then dump it, and it's gone. I mean, I can't spread anymore on this side. It's just gone, soaking into the plywood. Try to slap a little bit thicker down that time. Put some more right there. I'm going to try to get a bit deeper and a more even coat on the top side, obviously. And now I got to start working my way up the sides. It's looking good. You can see the coloring as it goes up the side. I think visually, once it goes up the side, that seems to make a big difference. Just start wrapping some of this over the top. Nice darker coloring on that. Getting lots of highlights here from the differences in the plywood, which is great. Now we're going to hit the edge. Let me see if you guys can see. I'll tilt it this way. There we go. Couple of spaces there that kind of needs to be a bit wetter and a bit more rubbed in because it falls in a little bit. There we go, got that. That looks better. Or again, there might be something that ends up getting hit next layer. Kind of wobbling with it because I'm picking it up and then looking at the camera, so I make sure people get a good view. That's the whole way around. We're going to hit it a little bit more in the center, kind of buff it a little bit, because you can see, I hope you can see, it makes just a tiny bit of a difference coming through again in the center. And I do want to layer this on nice and thick. As thick as I can while still calling it a thin coat, honestly. I know that's contradictory, but you saw how fast this stuff is drying. It really just devours it. Hit the edges again. I think that's going to be about it for today. We'll be putting up on some painter's feet just in case. Get a little more airflow on the bottom. And making sure I got everything. With my head sticking in the shot, excuse the COVID hair. Haven't had a haircut in, I don't know how long, 2 months? Probably, maybe longer. Oh well. All right, and once again to show this stuff, here's a wipe down of the center. Nothing. So there is no wipe on, wipe off. It dries that fast here in the summer. And that is it. Thanks for showing up and checking out the video. I will put more on here as I add more coats so that you guys can see the whole process. I'm not honestly sure if I'm going to shellac this one or not for the shininess. I haven't decided what I like better on that for the center of a table. But that's it. Thanks for showing up, people, and hopefully see you guys on the next video.